to swim. I'm fishing to fly. La, 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 la. It's not the same without your love. The mountains are deep, the valleys seem high. Nothing's the same without your love. Everything carries. Oh, everyone second best. The sun crescent rain. The weather don't change. 'Cause nothing's the same without your love. Blue Cowboy
Welcome to Keith Harris Stadium and MNP Park on the campus of Carleton University. It's the first inaugural annual Interprovincial Bowl Series Bantam Football Championship right here live on AGSN. Two great defensive teams will be vying for this Bantam Championship. It's between the Canada Knights and the South Youth Hornets of Montreal, second in the Quebec Bantam Football League, but defense, Wayne Jacobs, is huge in this one. The Canada Knights allowing only 13.8. Sun Youth, what did I say? South Youth. Excuse me, I'll get it. But getting back to my thought, before I was so rudely interrupted. Anyway, producers, 13.8 points per game per average, Canada giving up, and the Sun Youth Hornets averaging 12.3 points per game. So this is going to be a defensive struggle more than anything else, I'm predicting.
Well, an interesting matchup we have here, because two of the things is you have two of the teams that were not the favorites to win their individual leagues. Canada Knights did it with an upset of the Cumberland Panthers going in and having to knock off the previously unbeaten Panthers in the championships. And then again, Sun Youth, bit of an upset over St. Bruno to get there themselves. So both teams ended up not at the top of the standings, but got hot at the right time. And don't get yourself wrong. I mean, when these guys got hot, I mean, they were good teams. It's not like a team that wasn't doing anything. They both had, one loss in Canada's sense. That was to the aforementioned Cumberland team. And then you had the Sun Youth Hornets, who, again, were a two-loss team. I mean, you have two teams right now with rich traditions of football on both sides of the provincial border. I've known of Sun Youth for years. I mean, players like Tommy Kane of the NFL have gone through Sun Youth, and the Canada Knights have sent a few good players on to the CFL and even to the NFL. So, I mean, you've got two really good teams going toe-to-toe here.
On the NCAFA podcast every Wednesday, Jesse Card and Kyle Ball made their predictions for the picks here in this inaugural Interprovincial Bowl Series. And the first game, 24-16, the final. The Myers Riders winning that one. And Jesse even got the amount of points that the Riders scored accurate. And Kyle Ball with a sweep of La Belle Province. He picked all Quebec teams to win this series, the International Bowl Series, but the Canada Knights, 21-20. Jesse picked that one. Both close scores. I don't know which way to go, Wayne.
It's funny because you look at it, and I mean, weather's going to be a factor. In this one here, I mean, I'm not big on making predictions, but I think that Sun Youth has to be the favorite coming into this one. I mean, Canada's got a very strong team. I mean, Canada showed that they were one of the class of their league. I mean, the two teams that were the class of that NCAFA Bantam League this year were Canada and Cumberland. And again, Canada got the upset. So, I mean, it should be interesting. You have two teams that weren't the favorites going in, but I think Sun Youth is definitely has some athletes. And in terms of the sizes, Dan, you're going to see a bit of a size discrepancy between the Sun Youth Club and the Canada Knights Club.
It was as green as Thanksgiving weekend 24 hours ago, and I can hear Bing Crosby crooning in the background about White Christmas looking at this field, and that is going to play a huge part. The weather is going to make it really, really difficult to navigate through. And now, after coming in, this is game number 2 on this field, Wayne. The snow is going to be even packed, making the footing that much more tenuous.
I think the footing's a bit of a challenge right now, but the big thing is also, when I was down there earlier, is if we get a chance when our camera guys go to the flags or the goalposts. I mean, if you look at the goalposts, if you take a look at that goalpost, and I mean, again, our crack staff going ahead and give me those shots right away when I want them. Again, shout out to my production team. I ask for one thing, I get it in 10 seconds or less. But you see that, and I don't know if you can make it out on your screen. It's on an angle.
It is on an angle. The posts are waving in the breeze, but it's the Bantam Interprovincial Series Championship coming up right here on HESN.
The House Edge Sports Network welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Capital Amateur Football Association.
The Canada Knights, the NCAFA champions. The unlikely NCAFA champions after upsetting the Cumberland Panthers in the championship to get to this Interprovincial Bowl Series. Dan Mooney, Wayne Jacobs, our entire HESN crew, so happy to have you along for the ride. We're at Keith Harris Stadium at MNP Park on the campus of Carleton University for this Bantam Championship between the Sun Youth Hornets and the Canada Knights. And two great defenses, but you know what, Wayne Jacobs, weather is going to be a factor, but we might see some points. They might be able to put some points up on the board here due to the inclement conditions.
I think they definitely can. It's a fact that I think we've talked about throughout the day, and we'll talk about it today. I truly believe. I mean, you don't. Now, we saw it earlier when we just kind of kicked off the webcast here, where you saw the wind. So the wind's going to be a factor. But other than that, I think it's harder for the defensive side of the ball. As I've always said, I mean, on offense, you know where you want to get to. In defense, you're reacting. It is harder to react when you don't have your footing than it is to know where you were trying to get to.
And footwear is going to be really important in this game, because this is the second of 3. That snow is packed now, which will make footing even more tenuous, and footwear selection is really important in this one.
Oh, it truly is. And I mean, it's grassroots football. This isn't the pros. We don't have somebody out cleaning the lines, or for you people old enough to remember, we don't have a guy out on work release to come clear it for our field goal kicker to kick it against the Dolphins.
Yeah, I remember that.
But having said all that, yeah, you're 100% right. It's going to be a factor. I think the footing's going to play a factor. And I think also when you look over the field, you'll see the less beaten path, if you will, when you get towards the corners of the around the 10, the 20-yard line in the corners, it gets an exponentially slippier there. So, I mean, I think you hit it on the head. I think that the the elements, for lack of a better term, aren't going to have a huge factor in what we're doing, but I think the footing will.
Players to watch in this one, as Connor Van Ask goes, the quarterback for the Canada Knights. So do the Knights. You expect him to have a big game this afternoon?
Well, comes in as one of the highly touted quarterbacks. Did play for the, I want to say he played for his OPFL team, the provincial team representing Ottawa. So I mean, one of the quarterbacks to look at in the National Capital Region, especially at the Bantam level, is definitely Connor. I mean, one of the things that I'm going to be interested in watching, and it's going to be a key matchup for them today, is going to be the matchup between the receiving crew, if you will, of the Sun Youth Hornets versus the Canada secondary. If they're able to throw the ball, it's going to come up to them to make the plays, because they have some, like, I'm talking legitimate college-sized receivers at the Bantam level playing for Sun Youth here.
They do have a rather large crop of pass catchers in their lineup, but the triumvirate of Bradley Mahuda, Abdallah Traore, and Luca Lepe Lorenzo are really going to be a huge factor in this one, because the Sun Youth Hornets like to run the football. They like defenses to know that they do have a balanced attack, but one of the Quebec rules is in their first series on the field after a change of possession, you have to throw the ball at least once.
Oh, you have to do it every series. You have to throw it every time you're out there. You have to, on the Quebec rules, to prevent for that, you have to throw it once a series. Now, it's one of those things that they got to hammer out, because the question is, if you drop back, you get sacked, that doesn't count as your throw, so now you got to throw again. So it's one of those rules that they're trying to iron out the details in the Quebec side of things. But again, very good point. I mean, these teams come in here having to, if you will, work a balance between the two based on the rules that the league sets out.
Coin flip. There you see the white hat. That's Kevin Lamont. He's the referee for this one. Rob LaBelle is the umpire. The back umpire, Malcolm Bruce. Henry Wu is the head linesman, and the line judge, Stephen King, for this one. Full 5-man officiating crews for this Interprovincial Bowl Series championships.
As there should be. I mean, you got some really good talent on the field, and I mean, they deserve it. I mean, it's the same thing. The coaches and the players, they put in the time, they put in the effort. I mean, people forget because of the weather we've had in this part of the country, but it's almost the end of November right now. I mean, this weather that we're having seems as a bit of a shock to us when we woke up this morning, because we haven't seen it, but it's not that out of the ordinary. So, I mean, these kids have been at it since it was above 30 degrees in August. So, I mean, to give them anything less than, the 5 refs, the everything they deserve here for a game to be played at this caliber is exactly what you'd expect.
We're very close to reaching the high predicted for today, which was -1, which will make things rather difficult. But you see players wearing more and more often now those the ticky-tack gloves. And I did get my hands on the game ball that will be used for this, and very, very little pebble on it. So the gloves are really going to be a factor as well, just being able to hang on to the football, not to mention throwing it.
No, and you hit it on the head. I mean, the high is -1, but we showed you that wind earlier, and I guarantee you that the wind chill factor is not near -1. So as things develop in the game, the hands get colder. I mean, it's going to wreak havoc. I mean, I remember one of the toughest things I used to find, and one of the most underlooked things, is just the constant taking of the snap and handing it off to the backs when it's this cold. Now, again, the shotgun somewhat alleviates that, and that's the formation du jour, if you will.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I think you're dead on, Dan, and I don't think this is the last time we'll have a conversation about the effects the weather may have on this game.
Number 67, Brad Simser, getting set to kick this away. 12-minute quarters, and Simser's kick does not go 10 yards. It takes a Sun Youth bounce, and they're going to start with great field position on the Canada 42-yard line.
And Dan, we saw it in the previous game, the Pee Wee game, a great game. And I mean, I don't want to make it sound like it's something distinctly unique to the game we saw earlier. It is football in a nutshell. You play on a shortened field, it is a distinct advantage, and you're going to get in trouble. And right off the bat, Canada's given Sun Youth the shortened field. So, I mean, we'll see how Canada's defense reacts. But right off the bat, this is Bantam. This can cause trouble.
Hello, La Tendresse Regimbal, the starting quarterback. And he'll give that one right up the gut for a pickup of 2 yards. We talked about stellar defenses on both sides That's number 54, Karen Jackson, making the stop after a pickup of 0. Second down, 10 yards to go from the Canada 42.
And when you have a couple of defensive juggernauts like this, Dan, you're going to see the feeling out process. It's like a championship bout, a prize fight. They're going to spend the first couple rounds filling each other out, and that's exactly what we're seeing here.
Latendresse, the throw in and out of the hands of Emile Mailloux, and it'll be third down.
And that's where I think that the footing you alluded to, Dan, is going to be a factor here, because that was a decent ball. You just watch the receiver come out of the break here. And, I mean, again, you watch it here. If you watch him come out of the break, and that's Mailloux comes out here, and he almost slips. He's coming out, and he doesn't get out as sharp as he would on, say, a grass field or a field that wasn't covered in snow. And you see the result here, and it's just off the edge of his hands.
Third down, 10 yards to go. The opening possession for Sun Youth from Montreal. There's the handoff to Traore, and Traore stays on his feet, gets very, very close to necessary yardage, had to get to the 32, and this one may require a measurement.
Good job of reading his blockings and bursting through the hole there again. It's a point you brought up, and we're going to bring it up a million times here. I think, again, because of the footing, he might not have got the burst he wanted, but a good job by the Sun Youth line on that third play of the game here to kind of open up that hole, give him a shot to run through, and we'll see how that develops. Again, you know that the front sevens are going to be at the front of the battle here, and it's really going to be a war to see which front seven is going to control the line of scrimmage.
Abdallah Traore, the ball carrier, picked up very close enough to measure. And it's completely contingent upon the placement of the football, and I believe he's short by maybe half of the length of a football.
So I think you got to go for it here, don't you, Dan?
I think you're deep enough that that if your defense has to go out there, you've got a long field to protect. So
no, you do.
Kevin Lamont placing the football.
And
it'll be fourth down. About 3 or 4 inches to go.
One of the facts that we got to remember is they're not playing with the yard. And it'll be interesting to see how Canada adjusts and if they remember that on a crucial play. Because, I mean, it looks like right now that they've been instructed, hey, you got to line up on the news. That looked like offside, and we got that one there for you, Dan.
Indeed. So we'll have to wait and see what they sort out. Who moved first? If it's procedure, it is indeed against Sun Youth. So now it's 4th and 5, which changes the complexion of this series.
Oh, completely. And that's one of those things that drives you nuts as a coach because it really, you're pounding the ball up the middle. And if we get a look at that, you're going to see it's either one of the slot back or one of the outside linemen. If we don't, it's take my word on this one. They jump early. And if you're a coach right now, that's just got to be infuriating because now you're looking at punting that one away.
Here's Abdallah Traore and a bad snap. He has to run back for it. Finally finds the handle on it, and it tried to take off. Traore to the outside. He's got some room. Flags fly. Finally brought down, but he will not have enough for a necessary first down. But now we have to sort out the red nylon.
Well, it's interesting because you see it a lot in youth football, and we'll see if that's just an anomaly of sorts. But they lined up at 10 yards deep, and it's actually funny. The snap would have probably been more appropriate at the 15. So, again, do they normally line up at the 10? Do they normally line up at 15? Stuff to watch here.
It's against Sun Youth, and it's declined. So Canada will take over their first possession of the ball game, and Connor Vanasse, number 9, out there as the starting quarterback for the Knights. He'll get this offense going.
And this will be our first chance to see Vanasse and the Canada offense, which, again, their defense gets all the credit as they do deserve a large amount of that. But, again, this offense is no slouch. They put up points with certain degrees of ease, and they do it when they need to.
There's Vanasse, and the give to number 34, Kasim Ferdinand. And Ferdinand gets a little bit beyond the line of scrimmage after being tripped up there by number 30, Lou Patosha. No, it's Paul Brilou, excuse me.
For you guys that are fans, if we watch Ferdinand here, for you guys that are fans of the CFL, if you recognize that running style, it might be because you remember his dad running back with the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Montreal Alouettes, Denny Ferdinand.
Second down, 8 yards to go. Vanasse completes the pass to Kasim Ferdinand, but he was very, very quickly wrapped up there by number 66, Demond McLean Gordon, a defensive lineman. Doesn't usually get into a play like that.
Well, there's a fine line between holding your block and letting them come through and that's getting beaten cleanly. The idea isn't a screen. You want to let that guy think he's beating you. You can't just, most linemen will realize, hey, wait a minute, I got in here. I'm good, but I'm not that good. What's going on here? And that's exactly what happened. First guy got through right away, Dan, which blew up the screen, and then the second down lineman realized, hey, this isn't what it looks like.
Third down, 15 yards to go. The pitch to Ethan Rocha, and Rocha has nowhere to go. Number 92, Brandy Mbebe, there to make the stop.
Well,
no flag.
You called it from the get-go, and I mean, if the first two series do not a ball game make, but if they're an indication here, we got ourselves a bit of what I think the old school folks call a slobber knocker, when you got two big defensive teams that like to play defense, like to hit, and I think points may be at a premium today.
Connor Vanasse lines up for the punt, and Kasim Ferdinand was lined up on side. Ball picked up by Sun Youth, and right at midfield, that's where they'll begin. Brilou once again there to scoop up that loose football and give the Sun Youth Hornets really good field position on their second possession of the ball game.
Well, but yeah, something interesting. You brought up a good point, and that's the onside man. And somebody with Ferdinand's speed there. It's interesting to see if Sun Youth will pick that up. And another thing here is, again, we're early in this, but I think this is going to be, I don't want to go as far as saying crucial, an important drive for Sun Youth. You do not want to spend too many series on the right side of the field and come away with no points.
Aloha Latendresse looking to the sidelines for some level of guidance, but he may be running out of time. But full marks to Latendresse to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Full marks to get back, but I'm going to tell you, that's a classic case. You heard it for years about receivers looking to run before they catch the ball, and it's something that's becoming more prevalent with quarterbacks today as we see more and more shotgun, and that's looking at their keys before securing that football. And that's exactly what happened with Latendresse there. That was a beautiful snap, perfect place where you want it, and again, I think his eyes were just on the blitzing linebackers.
Traore, high snap once again. Can he get the kick away? Traore gets it away. End over end kick taken. All kinds of bounces. Number 25, Eric Charchidi, the man pinballing through the Sun Youth special teams coverage and brings the ball back out to the 43-yard line.
Well, we saw it in the first game, Dan, and some we talked about, and I like that with the return there, and I believe that was Eric Carchidi, exactly. Beautiful read. He took it he didn't take the temptation of trying to run around everybody, and he got Canada a nice 20 yards, and all of a sudden the field's been flipped on Sun Youth.
Here's Vanasse. The give to Ferdinand. Ferdinand, a broken play, but he turns it into gold. Kasim Ferdinand into the secondary, and a pickup of 19.
And you see where this Canada team, this is where they had their success, because quite frankly, that was all Ferdinand. I mean, it looked Barry Sanders-esque there, as he had to dodge not one, not two, but three guys in the initial 2 yards. And that was all Ferdinand on that. absolutely spectacular run, and I think we're going to hear his number called. And before this is said and done, I think he's going to have something to say about the result.
The first down of the ball game. Vanasse gives to Ferdinand once again, and he's quickly wrapped up Paul Briou right there to meet Ferdinand, and it'll be a loss of about 4.
Well, they say that one of the telltale signs, and we've seen it with Sun Youth and we've seen it with Canada, one of the telltale signs of a team that blitzes is when you look at the stat sheet, you'll see the run, you'll see 1, -2, -2, 40, 0, -3. And with a dancer, you'll also see that. Barry Sanders, that used to be his stat line every game. I think we're seeing a little Sanders in Ferdinand this afternoon.
Second down, 14 yards to go. Vanasse sets up, throws, and it's picked off by Traore. Abdallah Traore now at the 20. One man to beat. Traore still on his feet. He'll score.
And we'll take a look at that, Dan, in a moment here, but that's a ball you can't throw. I mean, he's rolling out off his back foot, and I would think that's a tough throw for Aaron Rodgers. No, we got a flag, Dan. Thanks for pointing that out. And it looks like they waved it off, Dan.
It'll go into the books as a 72-yard interception return for a touchdown. Abdallah Traore gives the Sun Youth Hornets a 6-0 lead.
Beautiful jump on the ball again, though. And again, you look at it, again, great read and reaction, but one of those plays that, I mean, it's a learning point for a young quarterback. He's going to learn you can't make those type of throws. The risk versus reward just is not there. Off the back foot into the flats, and you see the end result. And in a game where points are going to be a premium, Dan, those defensive points are going to be huge.
Latendresse to hold for Traore, who does it all. The multi-purpose man converts the touchdown, his touchdown, and it's Abdallah Traore 7, the Canada Knights no score.
No, good point again. Nice job stepping in front of that one. Good defensive battle. Sun Youth game. They made the trek this morning. And again, always good to jump out early. It'll be interesting to see, again, as the game develops, how long will Canada stick with Ferdinand? Because I have a funny feeling we're going to see a stat line to which we talked about, where it's just going to be it's a numbers game. It's like, you take more chances, you have more chance of him breaking one. And that seems to be it, because I'm really impressed with the way he runs, not just between the tackles, but outside. Not shying away from contact, but on the other hand, not necessarily engaging it where it doesn't need to be engaged. And it's a very, very good talent for a young back to understand the difference between being afraid of contact and the difference between knowing when it's just not necessary.
So Traore set to kick off. Waiting back. Denny Ferdinand has it. Kasim's brother picked it up at his own 17, trying to get to the outside. Cuts back, goes the other way, reverses his flow, and he's got some room on the outside. Here's Denny Ferdinand, finally pushed out of bounds at the Sun Youth 51-yard line. A 33-yard return, and boy, the Ferdinand boys know how to do it on their own.
I'll tell you what, there's definitely some genetics at play there, because both of them, again, showing a tremendous ability to cut back there and actually outrun the pursuit. And I thought for a second there, Dan, he might actually catch that edge and take it home.
Reversing his field and cutting back to the right was what made that run back, but Denny Ferdinand gives the Canada Knights great field position now at the Sun Youth Hornet 50-yard line. Connor Vanasse feels the pressure, goes around the other way, stays alive, sends it back for Kasim Ferdinand. Kasim Ferdinand sidesteps a couple of tacklers, finally wrapped up there by Andrew Lanus, number 42. And that one took about 25 seconds to lose 4 yards.
I'll tell you what, they say one of the signs of what you want in your quarterback or skilled quarterback is the ability to extend a play. And I'm telling you what, you look up the definition of extending a play, and that might have been it there. I thought he was dead to rights. Again, the results might not be what you want, but it's kind of good to know you have that in your back pocket, a QB that can extend it. Yeah, we got -4 on that one, but it's not going to always happen that way. It's not going to always unfold that way. And, we'll see how that comes into effect later on.
So second down, a loss of 4 on the play. And Connor Vanasse waiting for some level of clarification here as referee Kevin Lamont over at the Canada bench explaining something or other to head coach Adam Gilmore. Here's Vanasse. The pitch to Ethan Rocha, and Rocha can't get to the sidelines. He'll lose a yard or half a yard. It'll be third down.
And one thing we're seeing from this Sun U team right now is that flow on that defense. I mean, those pursuit angles that linebacker crew took there, absolutely brilliant. We'll watch here, and you see they're looking to shoot the gas, but they're making a read here. And, I mean, again, you love this. And if we watch, we come downhill, and that's number 43 on the defense. That's Liam Massley for Sun Youth. And that's just brilliant football, Dan. He comes down, shields the blocker, then makes the play. Great play by Massley.
Vanasse throws that one to the outside and completes it to Devon Blackwood, and Blackwood gets back to the original line of scrimmage, the pickup 6. But it looks as if Canada will kick the football away.
I'll tell you what, Dan, this to me is the bread and butter. If Canada and if Sun Youth has this, I think this is the most difficult thing to defend in weather like this is going to be those quick hitches, because you're trying to break down. We saw it earlier. We've seen it today. You're trying to break down. On that quick hitch, you're coming downhill full speed. One move, 3 yards turns into 30 very quickly.
Low snap. Vanasse gets the kick away. And it's Brilou. Brilou just runs into a sea of red jerseys, fumbles the football, but he'll be ruled down by contact.
And Dan, you brought up the point. It's something to watch. Is 34 Ferdinand there? He's lined up onside each time, and even the second time he was uncovered. And I have a funny feeling that a directional kick by the Knights is going to catch them off guard. So I mean, let's keep an eye on that, because you called it early. They've done it twice now, and we watched and I watched on the second one to see any adjustment by Sun Youth, and there wasn't really. I mean, it's not something you want to change your team outlook about. But on the other hand, you don't want that guy getting a free release if you know he's onside.
Referee Kevin Lamont with some equipment issues. Gets his shoes tied up. And Aloha Latendresse in the shotgun. Has Traore in the backfield. Low snap. Latendresse forced out of the pocket. They got him. Latendresse down. And it's a loss of 7.
Well, they say in the old adage, job security is ball security. Ball security is job security. And I'm going to tell you what, Latendresse has got to watch this. I've seen this 2 or 3 times with him coming out, and he swings that ball around there like it's like when he's going down, he's still trying to throw. We'll keep an eye on that, because that's going to come back to haunt him. I'm almost willing to guarantee you, Dan, that he will turn over the ball at some point in these weather conditions if he doesn't start securing it a little better than that.
Jack McGrady with the sack. The give to Traore once again, and he'll pick up 4.
Again, you see them happy to just pound it up the middle there. You got two strong defensive teams. You don't. It's almost a mentality where you don't want to make a mistake here. Again, the ball goes up the middle. Nice initial blocking. One thing that I'm liking that I'm seeing from this Sun Youth team.
Third down, 11 yards to go. Latendresse getting set to throw once again. Forced out of the pocket and into the hands of number 52. That's Joe Brennan. Oh, it's Riley Gilmore, excuse me, but there is a flag down. Face masking penalty against Canada. So that'll be 15 yards and a first down.
How big is that? I mean, that's the one that's just killer. So instead of them having to come out and punt, and not only punt, but punt from their own roughly about 30, we're looking at about a 20, kicking from their own 20-yard line. Now they get a whole new set of downs. But more importantly, and with weather like this, and like you said, the wind, the conditions, the defenses, that's huge. You got to be aware of these things. You can't let these things happen.
And that first down, by penalty, the first down of the ball game for the Sun Youth Hornets. They lead 7-0 on a 72-yard interception return for a touchdown by Abdallah Traore, who's hasn't gotten off the field. He's playing offense and defense, but I think at this level, you see quite a lot of that.
No, you really do. I mean, and it's one of those, I don't want to say old school, something that people got away from, and I think they're coming back to it. And you saw it from the high school. And I think it's important. I mean, it's one of those things. I think at this age, you have the physical capability, you're in shape, you have the skill. It's not like they're playing in the NFL where there's the physical beating, but it's not like they're 11 or 12 either where they might not have the physical endurance. And the thing is it's like I always equate to baseball. You got a baseball player, you want to extend your career, you learn the other, obviously you might not be able to pitch or catch, but you learn the other 7 positions. Same with football. If you get these kids, I mean, he might be a star running back here. He might play safety in college. And I think it's great for a well-rounded future for them in terms of when they get to the next level.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think versatility is the key to success in any sport. I mean, if you play any position, you make yourself virtually indispensable.
You know it. And in football, I think it's even more specific to football because of the athleticism whereas each other sport, and not that there's not a strong skill set, but I always say the most skilled guys on the field, the most in terms of actual technical skill, I'd say the 3 guys are probably the ones we see as the least athletic in terms of the 3 most skilled positions are the O-line, the quarterback, and the kicker. I mean, everything else you can kind of get away with athleticism. And so it's the type of thing, you might be a star running back from the time you're 12 till you're 17, and they're going to move you to safety right at college. And if you got a chance and a look, it's not brand new for you.
Explanations being bandied about by referee Kevin Lamont at the Sun Youth Hornets bench. He just left head coach Adam Gilmore and the Canada Knights, so some explanations going on. And this is the kind of thing that, I mean, with that wind howling out there, those players are going to get cold.
Yeah, no, I think he's probably just explaining to them why it's so cold outside and why the weather turned so drastically in 24 hours. Because they're looking around, and again, we got one heck of a camera crew here. We bring it up, they show it to us. And you look, and I mean, it's not an exaggeration. That wind is kicking up. These people are appropriately dressed. Oh, joking aside, I'm walking up, Dan. I think we see him. He's panning right there. A young gentleman in Bill's outfit, and he's head to toe in Bill's stuff, and I thought I was at Ralph Wilson Stadium. I mean, it looked the same snow swept feeling. And heck, he might even think he's there too.
Kevin Lamont is still discussing something with Jesse Blizzard over on the Sun Youth sideline, and I doubt that he's saying to the Sun Youth coach that candle holders make a nice wedding gift.
No, I'm thinking you're right, and I'm thinking he's got to think at some point. I mean, risk versus reward here. As you see these players doing jumping jacks, jumping around, you've got the lead. I don't want to say like it's a huge momentum swing here, but on the other hand, you have the momentum, for lack of a better term. So, I mean, again, I can't speculate. It's easy for me. This could be a real major point that he's bringing up, But, again, it's one of those things. I'm hesitant if I'm the coaching staff to kind of take away. We got what we wanted. We got the penalty out of it, meaning the most important thing.
And now Adam Gilmore getting further explanation.
It'll be interesting. I mean, we'll try to get us some feedback on what this is all about. I'll be honest, for cut and dry face masking, it seems like a very, I remember when they first introduced NFL Instant Replay, and it seemed to go quicker than it's happening right now. So,
face masking was the original call, a 15-yard penalty assessed, and the first down. The issue may be that what we discussed
passing rule.
earlier.
No, exactly. And again, I can't stress enough, you got to love your production team when they can go ahead and slide you these things. Again, great shout out to our production crew. And again, that's a very valid point. And it's one of those things the refs got to catch. And it becomes a question of, and that's the only issue that I did not like about this rule is, I mean, it's hard to enforce. If I drop back and you sack me, I've done what you said by the letter of the law, but now I'm penalized by having to throw again, if that's not my strength type of thing. So that could be it, but it's first down, Dan.
And Traore met at the line of scrimmage, and nowhere for him to go. And the defenses are living up to the billing in this one. Wayne Jacobs, they're not giving an inch.
Well, I'll tell you what, we have skill at every level, but this is when we get to start to get into what we call big boy football. And you look at that front seven. I mean, here's the difference you see as you get older and older. I mean, in a lot of cases, you look, and this is the first time when you really see these old linemen engaged. I'm impressed with the Sun Youth job. Again, not a huge push there, but not through lack of effort or skill. I mean, they're facing a pretty formidable front in the Canada front four, plus the linebackers front seven.
And another stoppage. Two yards on the pickup. And Eloa Latendresse in the shotgun. Traore in motion. Latendresse sets it up, throws it over the middle, looking for Emile Mailloux once again and overthrowing him by a few yards.
Nice read by Latendresse. Just a little more air needed. And I mean, it's one of those adjustments. Hopefully the coaches come back. As a quarterback, you have to be aware. It is tough.
At the end of the first quarter, it's 7-0. A 72-yard interception return for a touchdown. The only scoring in this one so far. We'll be back with the second quarter. You're watching the Bantam Interprovincial Bowl Series Championship game on HESN.
This broadcast is brought to you in part by House Edge Media. House Edge Media is a creative marketing agency based in Ottawa that helps businesses innovate and automate their digital marketing activities. Visit them at houseedgemedia.com. This broadcast is brought to you in part by Arturo's Restaurant, located at 94 Beechwood Avenue in Vanier.
Third down. 8 yards to go. Latendresse forced out of the pocket, rolls to his right, and just beyond the outstretched fingers of Liam Maisley in there on offense as well. So it'll be fourth down and a definite punting situation here for the Sun Youth Hornets.
Well, it's funny, Dan, because you expect when we talk about weather playing a factor into things, we think of NFL follies. We think of things expected, but it's the little things right now. I think if Latendresse can get his footing a little bit better here, he's going to go ahead and complete that one.
The kick is away into a pretty stiff breeze, and it takes a Canada bounce back toward midfield. And that's Traore. That's the kicker. He's onside.
I think you called this one. I think Canada might be getting caught up in their own scheme, if you will, of things. We'll see what they rule here. And all indications, they're coming off. It looks like Sun Youth. Looks like they're getting it back, Dan.
Abdallah Traore doing it all. Interception return for a touchdown. An onside punt recovered, and the Sun Youth Hornets maintain possession of the football.
And more importantly here's the big thing, and we've seen it so far today. They've just flipped the field. With one play, they flipped the field. So now Sun Youth is playing with that shortened field again. And again, we've seen it. With this weather, with these defenses, field position is going to be so important today.
We're going to go to that. We're going to get a shot of maybe something there.
There is a young volunteer. He's actually the Canada Knights water boy, helping the team out. He's having to deal with cerebral palsy, but it's obviously not letting him slow him down. He rides out during the timeouts in that yellow truck, and boy, what a great thing for that young man to be part of this organization, and good on this organization for making it inclusive enough for this young boy to participate.
I'll tell you what, Dan. I mean, he's got wheels, and he's got a truck, and he's got I think he's the smartest one of us all out here. He's all warmed up, and he's got the transport out there. Good on you. Great job. And again, one of those support staff guys that you forget about, but, trust me, when you play the game and it's 40 degrees out, you know him.
Latendresse a little slow getting that ball off. And they'll do it all over again. First down after Abdallah Traore recovered his own punt. 1st and 10 at the Canada 50. Latendresse flares that one out to Traore. It's complete, stays on his feet, and Traore finally forced out of bounds after a pickup of 18.
Well, right now they've done a good job of exploiting the flats. Latendresse has gone there a few times, and if not for missing by it, you look here, and again, flat wide open in the flats here. And this isn't the first time we've seen this, Dan. They've had a couple of near ones where they've dropped it. It's just been off the fingertips. But Canada's got to be aware of this, because if Sun Youth starts exploiting this, and they will be able to because we've seen it so far, this could be big trouble for the Knights down the road.
First down, 10 yards to go from the 35. Here's the pitch to Bradley Mahuta. His first touch of the ball game, and Mahuta crosses the 25. He should have a pickup of 12 and another first down for Sun Youth.
Well, it looks like Kyle Prince is down on the Kyle's getting up there. And again, good job, good blocking up front. You saw it, they're taking advantage. You look here, quick little toss, the equivalent to the old student body left type of play. But good job reading that block, cutting up. So many players, even at this level, they want to string it outside because they want to outrun the competition. Whereas you saw it, and basically Mahuta there just cut up the middle, read the block, and again, there's a reason why they got 1st and 10.
Big first down, this one beginning at the 24. There's Latendresse. His pass goes through the hands of Mayu, incomplete. Number 32, Roman Reed, providing the defensive coverage for the Canada Knights.
Well, this seems to be a strategy they're going to exploit. And again, Canada needs to make an adjustment. Otherwise, this is going to be a problem. You watch here, and they've got, coming out there, they've got Wakeman picking up, and that's a slot back. You're asking your linebackers to check. That's not Wakeman on that. That's Roman Reed. It was Wakeman on the other side. But both Canada's linebackers right now are locked up with slot backs. Not a matchup that you want if you're a defensive coordinator. And, Sun Youth is clearly aware of what's happening here because they're going at it. And trust me when I tell you, this is going to be an issue for the Knights if they don't make an adjustment and get some speed out there, especially with the footing being what it is.
Ball moved back to the 29-yard line. First down repeated. 15 yards to go. Latendresse tries the option. Latendresse still on his feet. Has Traore with him, and Latendresse gets to the 20 before being wrapped up there by number 32, Roman Reed once again. So Reed, a marked man by the Sun Youth Hornets offense at this point.
Well, you watch here, and this could have been a lot worse for Canada because Latendresse, nice job, and he's young. Might not be an option specialist, but right now here he wants to toss that off. You can still make that toss, and I always say to my quarterbacks, you throw, let the running backs run. Again, great play by Latendresse. Canada's lucky, though. That could have been a lot worse.
It's the big man, Bradley Mahuta, trying to get around the left side. Met there by number 25, Eric Karkidi.
The beauty for Canada is they've been in this type of game before. They've been in a dogfight. They've been on behind. They've been behind the game. They've lost the game. It's not like they're on uncharted ground. But again, this is one of those things where you're starting to see a little bit of the control of the game here, Dan, shift to the men in black and yellow right now, or black and gold, if you will. And, it'll be interesting to see what Canada does to stem the momentum tide.
Smash mouth football so far, at least on this drive, and the longest sustained drive by the Sun Youth Hornets in this football game with 8:19 left to go in quarter number 2. This is Latendresse, the quarterback. A flag flies in the backfield. That's more than likely a holding call as Latendresse finally wrestled to the ground by Joe Brennan, number 56.
And it's funny because Sun Youth is doing a great job in terms of spreading out that offense, in terms of spreading things across the board. And again, it's a matchup thing, Dan. If we take a look, and we'll look here who's locked up on whom. And again, we take a look there, and granted it's a running play, but again, I want to focus on those slot backs against the linebackers. It's just, as an offensive coordinator, you dream for that. That's what you draw up on Tuesday of game week when you present it. You're like, if I can get my slot on your linebacker, it's a mismatch. And right now, that's what Canada's getting, and it's going to cause problems for them down the road.
Illegal procedure is the call against Sun Youth, so they move it down. It's 4th down now 8 yards to go, and the ball at the Canada 22-yard line. And on 4th and 8, Latendresse and the Sun Youth Hornets are going for it.
So again, they did not throw the ball, so that's where they're penalized. So puts them in a bit of a precarious position here.
Latendresse throws, completes that pass. Quentin Neveu has got it. Neveu still on his feet inside the 10 to about the 8. Big first down, a gain of 17 for Quentin Neveu.
And I will tell you what about Latendresse. If this was synchronized swimming or figure skating, he is not going to have success because it is not pretty. But I will tell you what, if it is completely results-oriented or driven, this kid is getting it done. It does not look pretty. He looks like he's tripping on himself there, but clearly there's a method to his madness. Great composure, finds the open man, 4 new downs.
The give to Traore. Traore on his feet into the end zone for the touchdown.
Great cutback by Traore there, and it's what we alluded to. The footing, it definitely clearly is to the advantage of the offense. He cuts one way, they slid down. You had two defenders go down on a cutback there. And again, with these two defenses, Dan, 14, it's not the end of the world. Here we take a look real quick, Dan, and you watch this. He comes in, he makes that one plant, and then you have Canada you have the two guys that just are taken out of the play. And again, great job. That's Emile Mailloux, the tight end. He looks to be a tight end slot on there, 87. And again, unheralded as he goes ahead, and he actually opens up that seam for them and gives them the touchdown.
The touchdown coming at the 4:55 mark, and the extra point by Traore makes the score Abdallah Traore 14. The Canada Knights, no score yet.
I'll tell you what, like I said, one who's really impressing me right now, because I go, if you do it once, you can call it a fluke. You do it twice, all right, maybe you're getting lucky. Once you do it more than 3 times, it's like, okay, this seems to be a trend. And he does not look pretty doing it, but I am telling you, that Latendresse, man, he gets the job done. That's 2-3 times now I've seen him extend plays, and that he just did not look like that play was going anywhere. And in that touchdown right there, completely on Latendresse. Completely on Latendresse. Great job. Gets them to 4 fresh downs. And again, 14-0 with 7 to go, Dan. I think it's a crucial point here for Canada.
Ball taken there by Denny Ferdinand. Ferdinand busts up the middle and makes something out of virtually nothing and gives the Canada Knights pretty decent field position at their own 47-yard line.
Well, I think when you have the Ferdinand brothers on the field, it's exactly that. What ends up happening is you have a chance on any play to score. I mean, both brothers have shown that explosiveness, that quickness. So, I mean, Canada by no means is in panic mode, and nor have they given up a whole slew of yardage. But again, the defenses we're dealing with, this has got to be you got to get some confidence here.
Connor Vanasse bobbles the snap, flares that one out, and the one hopper, it's ruled incomplete. Number 29, Liam Bergeron, right there to make the defensive play had that been ruled a catch. But again, what you have to be very, very careful, especially in these conditions, if that ball is gone back and it's not caught, it's live.
No, and it's also an issue. It's a problem. It's a great play, but as soon as that snap comes down, as soon as you bobble it. Now I want to take a look here. Let's really quickly look at number 66 here on Sun Youth. That's Damon McLean Gordon, and I'll talk to you in a second about this. I'll let you call this player, Dan.
Here's Vanasse, puts it up, throws in and out of the hands of the intended receiver. That's Jacob Riley.
Looks like Riley plays both ways, a little D-line. What I was saying, I got to finish my point, is Gordon there, the D lineman, on the last one we watched, you have a D lineman out there making the perimeter or making the edge tackle. That to me is motor. That is nothing to skill. I love my team I got here, so we're going back that way. Watch Gordon out here. He's in the middle, and he's going to head out there, and he's going to be one of the first ones to make contact. Absolutely brilliant.
Kasim Ferdinand on 3rd down, picks up 7. It won't be enough to move the sticks, and Canada looking at another punting situation. But we may not even see that.
I think you got to go for it here. I think right now with 5:48, I think you got to show faith in your defense. I think the kicking game, again, this is Bantam, so the kicking game's there. But again, it's not like you're kicking at 60 yards and pinning them inside the 10-yard line here. I think with Ferdinand, you got to go for it. Vaness, one of the better quarterbacks his age, I think you got to take a shot here.
And the give is to Kasim Ferdinand, and he can't go anywhere. Number 66, Damon McLean Gordon wraps him up, and Canada gives up the ball on downs.
I don't know if I go that. I think you definitely have to go from it, and don't get me wrong, it is so easy for us to second guess, but I think you gotta try to get him outside, throw that little hitch, this type of thing. You watch here, and they're loaded up. There's got to be an audible. They're shooting gaps. I mean, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 guys firing the gaps. FYI, there's 6 gaps on the field. And Ferdinand does everything he can. And again, you look at Gordon there. This kid's got a motor. I mean, very rarely do we bring up a D tackle on 2 plays in a row. I really like this kid Gordon. This is what football's about. Let's keep an eye on him.
First down from the midfield stripe for the Sun Youth Hornets. 4 minutes and 58 seconds remaining in quarter number 2 in the first half, and a timeout called by the Hornets.
And it's been an interesting half, Dan. I mean, again, you've got the 2 defensive teams. You got 2 teams that have dealt with adversity. They've dealt with, they weren't the champions, so to speak, of the regular season in their league. So they had to be an underdog to get here, and they did so successfully. So, again, I don't think panic mode by any stretches in Canada. But, again, when you know you've got 2 defensive giants out there, 20 points, man, that's a tall order.
And in consideration of the fact that Canada has just 1 first down so far and total offense of 30 yards.
I believe it. Like I said, Sun Youth is, they've taken it down. They got the early field position, and they've taken advantage of it. I mean, the majority of the game has been played on Canada's side of the field or pretty close to midfield, which, again, does not bode well for them.
Number 43. That's Liam Massley going both ways, and Massley gets a pickup of about 4 or 5, finally brought down by a host of Canada tacklers, led by number 20, Denny Ferdinand.
And good job of Ferdinand, because he got spun around there, and he actually looked to be effectively taken out of the play. And again, a good job not to quit. We're seeing motors on both sides of the field. Something that as a coach, it's one of those things. You can set the environment, but you truly can't coach to it. And it's one of those things that you really like to see when you just got these kids going out. They understand what's at stake here.
Traore on the bench. Mahuda in for him. Mahuda gets the call, goes up the right side. Wrapped up there by number 56, Joe Brennan, getting very, very close to another Sun Youth first down, and indeed that's the indication from referee Kevin Lamont.
And Mahuda's that back you want to give it to there. Watch this. Just up the middle, and again, I brought up other backs, but again, I'll talk about Eric Dickerson. He just slashes up the middle. There's no dancing. If Mahuda does any type of dancing on that initial one there, it's not a first down. Great job. Know what you need to get it, understand the game of football. Good job, Mahuda.
Latendresse stands in the pocket now. He's forced out, takes off, and he's got some room up the left side. Here's Latendresse, runs out of bounds, forced out of bounds there by number 27.
I'll tell you what, I'm not giving this kid enough credit because although it might not look pretty, he is getting it done, and he's getting it done to a great degree. I mean, watch him step up here. Looks like he might have the seam down the middle, but again, it's forced up. Again, this will come with experience and age that he's going to keep looking downfield. But you know what, as a coach, I'll take that 12-yard or 15-yard run in the first down every time.
Mahuda, off tackle right. Wrapped up there by Joe Brennan once again.
What you're slowly but surely seeing here, Dan, is this breaking down of Canada, the breaking down. And again, it's a back like Mahuta. If I'm a coach right now, I love what I'm seeing. We got a 14-0 lead. You are running north-south. You are continually going north-south. You're putting the pressure on the Canada D. And you know what? I have a whole playbook full of stuff for 2nd and 4.
Yeah, nice comfort zone for a quarterback, too. Latondresse, more than likely, just loving this situation. In the shotgun. Here he is again, sets up, throws over the middle, in and out of the hands of Quentin Neveu, incomplete.
Again, I'm impressed with this. I mean, he shows the ability. I wouldn't say, like, this is – the coverage was there. He put it the only spot where he could throw it. It wasn't a case of him forcing it in there. I mean, as a gunslinger, as a QB, you got to put it there. And you watch Latondresse, he's showing some skill here. He's showing some old-skill gunslinging ability. He drops back here and just fires it in there. And that's a ball. Again, tough catch, but it needs to be caught.
3rd down, about 4. Here's Latondresse rolling to his right. Brennan in pursuit. Latondresse throws back against the grain for Neveu. He's got it inside the 10. And another big first down. The Sun Youth Hornets keep the drive alive, and a pickup of 14 by Neveu.
Well, I'll tell you what, coming into the game, and it is the ultimate team sport, so I understand there's 11 others that are going to dictate your success. But coming into this one, all the talk was about Canada's QB, Connor Vaness. And I'm telling you right now, this Latondresse kid, this kid's impressing me.
Staying in there, showing a lot of poise for a young man of 14 or 15 years old.
Nope, definitely. And like I said, you extend the play, there's no defense to it.
The give up the middle for Luca Lape Lorenzo, and no indication of a touchdown. Gets to the 1, it'll be 2nd and goal.
And more importantly here, this drive has consumed a good 5 or 6 minutes for Sun Youth. So, I mean, points, again, you don't count your chickens before they hatch, but points could be imminent here, and going down by 17, 20, or 21 is not really is a bit of a daunting proposition for this Canada team.
Latondresse in the shotgun from the 1. 2nd and goal. The give to Lape Lorenzo, and he can't get in. Good gang tackling there by the Canada Knights as the ball pops loose, but the play had already been whistled down.
And you see Jack McCready there acting as the anchor and all that. And again, Canada's got some size and they have some strength. Look at this line standing their ground. Good job by the front, the interior 3 by Canada to basically understand conceptual football. They're not looking to get quarterback sacks or leave gaps open. They stand their ground, forcing him to bounce it, letting the backers do their job.
3rd down from the 1. Bad snap. Latondresse gets away. Finally wrapped up there. Caught by Kyle Prince, number 19. And now the Sun Youth Hornets are looking at 4th and goal from the 5-yard line.
I'll tell you what, Prince saved the day there because Latondresse had the edge. And again, great job recovering. That ball just comes fired in the ground. Clearly the center didn't get a good grip on it. No panic in Latondresse's game whatsoever. And again, great job there by number, I think it was 26 on there for Canada, who went ahead and shut them and forced them to kind of slow the play down, allowing Prince to come in and make the tackle.
Traore is attempting a 10-yard field goal. It's up and it's through. 17-0 with 1:16 left to go in the opening half of this Bantam Championship in the Interprovincial Bowl Series.
Well, you see Latondresse coming over the sidelines. I'm going to tell you, I remember listening to something that made me smile. Listening to Tony Dungy take a lot of heat from the media, which always amused me because he's the one that coached, but they're telling him he was wrong. And they asked Dungy the best quarterbacks of all time that he faced. And he put Elway number 1. And he listened, I think Brady was 3rd or 4th. And all the media's going irate. How can you not say? And he's like, listen, you guys have your stats. You do what you want. But here's the thing. I have to coach against this guy. And when I play against or coach against Brady, he is great. He puts the numbers. But he does one thing. He goes, with John Elway, he forces you to defend so much more. And that's what I'm seeing in Latondresse right now. At least 3 times Canada has shut them down and has done everything they're supposed to do. You can't equate or you can't defend that 12th man, if you will, being the quarterback.
Connor Vanasse giving the ball to number 26, Ethan Rocha. And Rocha does a good job to, I guess, keep the pile moving forward and picked up 5 yards.
And again, it's one of those things here. Again, a bit of a victory, if you will, for lack of a better term, for the Canada defense, holding them to 3. But again, 17-0, minute to go here. Now, the 1+ for Canada is they should be getting the ball to start the second half.
There's Vanasse, pump fake. He'll take off. Does he have enough for the first down? He needed to get to the 45-yard line, and I'm not sure he got there on second down. And he didn't. Half a yard shy.
And what do you do here, Dan? Do you 46 seconds? You just look to run this out, see if you can break one, or do you try to actually put something on the board? I mean, just by the time they're in the huddle, I think we know the answer to this one. But it's a curious question to ask all the same.
Really be interesting to see a hook and ladder right about now. Here's Vanasse, looks to his left, throws, and some jostling for position. Jacob Riley out there along with number 29, Liam Bergeron on the far side for Sun Youth Hornets.
I'm not going to lie to you, Dan. I don't understand the play call here in the sense that you've got them playing almost a prevent look. You've got the DBs. We catch the beginning of it here. A good 10 to 12 off. I mean, you've got a couple of underneath stuff. I mean, they've read the hitch already. But again,
Connor Vanasse just took the plunge and got the first down, just the second first down of this first half by the Canada Knights, and they take their final timeout.
so I'm not sure if they got something dialed up here. It's, again, kind of peculiar. You had the 58 seconds, you let it run down, then you choose to do it here. The only concern I have with this is, to me now, it becomes a risk-reward thing. Like, you dial up that play, I'd be shocked or surprised if Canada does anything, I guess you call it normal football here. Like, you'd want to dial up a trick play, because calling a timeout with 22 seconds this far away, you know, to me, it's just it's risk laden. I mean, so much can go wrong for you versus what can go right. So, I mean, again, if I'm Sun Youth, I have to think, like, you know what? The initial play is not what's going to happen, guys. Be aware of that. And for Sun Youth, again, you just want to keep them off the board or keep everything in front of you. So we'll see what Canada's got dialed up here.
22.3 seconds left to go in the half. In the shotgun, Vanasse. Flag flies as Vanasse puts that up. And the catch is made by Ferdinand, but it's coming back. There's a flag down at the line of scrimmage, and I believe offside. Oh, it's offside against Sun Youth. So a big gain, 34 yards to number 34.
And you'll see it here, and it definitely offside. Sun Youth free play for Vanasse. And again, it's one of those things, though, I'm questioning. When you look at the defensive coverage, it always you know, the typical seems to be cover 3, which you leave the seams up here. Let's see if they're doing something. They look to go into a match now.
Vanasse running out of time. Brought down with 6.1 seconds left to go. And now this, you got to look end zone now.
Well, you got to look, pending on what happens with Vanasse here. Vanasse is slow to get up. And again, Vanasse is going to get up in a bit of a rough afternoon for Vanasse. You see that big horn at front, absolutely unrelenting. And again, I agree with you. You got to go to the end zone here. And it begs the question, why didn't you take the timeout a lot earlier when you had the 4th or the 3rd and 1, this type of thing. So, again, Canada would probably feel a lot better about things if they had another 20 seconds to play with here. We'll see what happens.
The ball at the 31-yard line, the final play of this opening half, barring a penalty. Vanasse probably will look downfield and hope for an interference call. Looks into the corner. He's got his man in and out of the hands of Misha De La Foresta.
And to be fair, we'll take a look at the replay. I mean, it looked like the Sun Youth may have got a hand on that, and if they didn't, Dan, that was probably the hand actually wreaked havoc on him trying to catch it. Let's take a look here, because, I mean, it's not as black and white. I don't want to say that it's a drop, but we'll take a look here whether that was deflected. Again, nice ball by Vanasse. Yeah, that looks like it was deflected at the last second. It
If
looks like
not-
it might have got touched.
If not, it might have been enough to throw off his concentration.
I 100%. If it's not that, I agree with you. It's 100%. I mean, people forget it is not easy. I wave a hand in front of you and you have a football a half a second later. This is a skill. Most people don't appreciate that.
17-0 at the half, and all of the points scored by Abdallah Traore. 17-0. Sun Youth Hornets here in the Bantam Interprovincial Bowl Series Championship from Keith Harris Stadium. We'll take a break and be back with the second half. Don't go anywhere, folks. You can only see this here on HESN.
The House Edge Sports Network would like to thank Cora's Restaurant on Saint Laurent for its support of this broadcast. The House Edge Sports Network would like to thank Cora's Restaurant on Saint Laurent for its support of this broadcast. The House Edge Sports Network would like to thank Cora's Restaurant on Saint Laurent for its support of this broadcast. The House Edge Sports Network would like to thank GameStrat for its support of HESN Youth Sports Network. The House Edge Sports Network would like to thank GameStrat for its support of HESN Youth Sports Network. This broadcast is brought to you in part by House Edge Media. House Edge Media is a creative marketing agency based in Ottawa that helps businesses innovate and automate their digital marketing activities. Visit them at houseedgemedia.com. This broadcast is brought to you in part by House Edge Media. House Edge Media is a creative marketing agency based in Ottawa that helps businesses innovate and automate their digital marketing activities. Visit them at houseedgemedia.com. This broadcast. HESN would like to thank Abley Productions for its support of this broadcast. The House Edge Sports Network would like to thank Watermart for its support of HESN. Watermart is owned and operated by one of our very own, Dan Lachance, the president of the Canada Knights football program. This broadcast is brought to you in part by Arturo's Restaurant, located at 94 Beechwood Avenue in Vanier. This broadcast is Sports Network would like to thank Cora's Restaurant on Saint Laurent for its support of this broadcast. The House Edge Sports Network would like to thank Cora's Restaurant on Saint Laurent for its support of this broadcast. The House Edge Sports Network would like to thank Cora's Restaurant on Saint Laurent for its support of this broadcast. The House Edge Sports Network would like to thank GameStrat for its support of HESN Youth Sports Network. It is brought to you in part by House Edge Media. House Edge Media is a creative marketing agency based in Ottawa that helps businesses innovate and automate their digital marketing activities. Visit them at houseedgemedia.com. Hey football fans, Mike Sutherland here, voice of your Ottawa Redblacks and a huge supporter of minor football in our...
Welcome back to MNP Park and Keith Harris Stadium on the campus of Carleton University. The inaugural Interprovincial Bowl Series. This, the Bantam Championship, and it's been all Abdallah Traore in this one. A 72-yard interception return for a touchdown. Then a 6-yard touchdown run. He converted both those touchdowns and then finished off with a 10-yard field goal. That's all the points, and the Canada Knights are in tough here in this Bantam Championship. Dan Mooney, Wayne Jacobs, and our entire HESN crew, so pleased to have you on board for this Interprovincial Bowl Series. This is a Bantam Championship, and in the Pee Wee Championship, the Myers Riders were down 14-0 to Shadow Gay Wayne, but they came back. It was a tale of really two different football clubs. The Canada Knights are hoping that they have a similar type of fate.
I think so, but I also think that the tone is a lot different in this one than it was in the first one. I think you saw the Sun Youth team really dominate that front seven. And again, as good as Traore has been, I would be remiss in saying that the quarterback, Latondres, has had a lot to do with this. I mean, when Canada seemingly has had stops, he's extended the play, and again, it just deflates the defense. And the longer they're out there, that's given the chance for the Mahudas of the world, for the Traores in the middle, to go ahead and break free here. I mean, two things we're going to watch in the second half is really how Canada stands up, what they do with this first possession. And the second thing, we brought it up a couple of times, Dan, is how Canada adjust to Sun Youth attacking the perimeter, if you will, the flats.
Canada gets the ball first, and it goes through the hands of Denny Ferdinand. He picks it up at his own 3. Now he's got to try and figure out a way to get by Paul Brilou, and he couldn't. But there's a flag down. We'll have to wait and see what the call is. But Denny Ferdinand just a little confused on that one after trying to plot a route in very tender footing.
Well, you really can't. They got, it looks to here like they've got some type of a wedge-type block going, but that guy comes right. This is completely contingent on you catching this clean. And right now, you're dead to rights, because I don't care if that was if that's Barry Sanders out there. You're going up against 3 guys untouched. Very tough job. Not the start at all that Canada's wanted, Dan, because we have not seen really any type of sustained offense from the Canada Knights, other than the odd breakaway play from Ferdinand. So, I mean, right now, it'd be curious to see if they, let alone go 100 yards to score, see if they can't, flip the field, for lack of a better term.
Kasim Ferdinand in at quarterback now for the Canada Knights to start.
And a number that I've been calling all day, and again, in on the play, not the initial tackle, but I mean, it says something when you see that defensive tackle out on the edge. And again, that's big 66, Damon McLean Gordon. And you watch him, this kid just seems like he has a motor that just doesn't stop. I'm really impressed with this front of the Sun Youth, especially the interior. You've got Gordon in there, and I mean, again, they're just controlling the line of scrimmage, him and Norville right now. It'll be interesting to see what Canada can do.
Kasim Ferdinand out of the shotgun, sets up, has lots of time, now takes off. Ferdinand in trouble, still on his feet, gets it away, but he's hit just as the ball left his hand, and it goes incomplete. Number 42, Andrew Lanus, there to fall on that loose football, if indeed it was ruled a fumble, but clearly Ferdinand's arm was in a forward motion.
Now I'm looking, and I didn't notice, did Vaness come out of the game in injury? I know that Ferdinand is listed as the number 2 QB, and I've actually had the chance to see Ferdinand, and this is a young man who's a great athlete, can throw a football. But again, it seems a little early to be, it shows a bit of a desperation if there's no injury involved there, so we'll keep an eye on that right now.
Ferdinand. And the give to Kyle Lim, number 11, his first carry of the ball game, and Lim gets nowhere. And it'll be 4th down. And it will appear that now, we talked about this scenario before. Does Canada give up 2 here and still make it a 3 major score?
You have to give up the 2 here. I think you have to give it up. I mean, we've seen the punting game. Again, better at this level than you do at the younger levels. Canada's got some good kicks off. But you got to figure if you got a CFL-level kick here, you're giving the ball to a very potent Sun Youth offense with 40. I think you keep this, under 20, you still got a chance. And they're going to kick it. Disaster.
And
again,
there's a touchdown.
You can't do that. Sorry, Dan. And again, it's easy for me to sit up here, but you got to take the knee there. There is so much where there's just nothing to gain.
And a fumble recovery for a touchdown by Andrew Lanus makes it 23-0. And now it's 4 scores.
Well, we'll take a look at that block here. He comes in clean. And again, I'm not a fan of this at all. Look at the angle it's taking. At very best, this ball's going to the 20, Dan. You're giving them the ball. They've already shown. You saw the field goal and the leverage you got. I got to hang this one on the staff. You got to take a knee. You got to, especially with the defense you have. You make it 19. You kick the ball off. You play around the 40. Nothing good comes out of that. And now Canada finds himself 3 minutes into the half. They're down 23, possibly 24.
Traore's kick is good. 24-0 for the Sun Youth Hornets from Montreal. They came in to the nation's capital and are completely dominating the Cumberland or the Canada Knights.
And I mean, and I'm taking a look here because I mean, for Canada, this is not going well. I'm looking on the sideline, and Vaness seems to be being consoled by some of the coaches. So there's definitely an injury, or sorry, I don't want to say definitely because I don't want to speculate, but it appears that there's some type of injury issue as Vaness has taken a seat on the bench. He's under the sheltering, and he's constantly being consulted to by the coaches, which leads me to believe that obviously there's an injury case in play here. So, I mean, a lot falls on the shoulders of Ferdinand to see if they can get Canada back in this game.
So the second touchdown by the Sun Youth Hornets defense. There's a bobbled ball picked up once again by number 26, Ethan Rocha. And Rocha brings it back out to the 45-yard line.
And we're going to take a look here. And again, it's something that we missed out on. And again, I'll drop it after this, I promise you, Dan. But if you watch, and we're going to flash back here, Vanessa is also the punter. So they have their backup punter punting 3 yards deep. This is not their regular punter. Look at the trajectory of this ball. This ball is not going. If nobody's there, that ball's getting to the 20. You just can't put your team in that position. I mean, that's not your punter. So we'll see what they can do here. It looks like Vanessa's out for a little bit of time here as he's not moving around. He's under that shelter. So we'll see what Ferdinand can do, and we'll see how adaptable this Canada offense is.
They get the football back at their own 45-yard line. Kevin Lamont, the referee, brings a new football out, and that looks like it's got a few miles on it.
I'll tell you what, this is it right here, Dan. They have to move the ball. I mean, a score is really needed, but if they cannot go 3 and out here or 3 and punt or even have 1 first down and out.
Rocha slips in the backfield and met there by Massley.
And Massley's a name we've called a couple of times. I mean, the kid's got some wheels, but more importantly, he has that range from sideline to sideline. And one of the most underrated things for linebacker position is that range, especially on the Canadian field. You're looking at 65 versus 70. I mean, so you're looking at a lot of field to cover. And Massley does a great job here, first getting into the mix, shedding the blocker, but then going down. Again, very impressive Sun Youth defense all around. They play team concept defense. They seem to feed off each other, know their responsibilities.
Ferdinand sets up, throws downfield. That's picked off at his own 50-yard line. Number 29, Liam Bergeron, with the interception. And the Sun Youth Hornets defense just illustrating how difficult they are to play against again.
No, and again, and it's tough sledding for Canada. You don't want to capitulate here. You don't want to, give up. But you got to set your second-string quarterback, who's your starting tailback, in there trying to throw. He's doing everything he can. Again, they're not making reads. Safety comes over. It's a tough sledding for Canada. Credit goes to the Canada staff and the Canada offense for trying to win this one and not folding the tent. But it's going to be an uphill battle without their starting QB.
There's Latendresse. Ball's loose. Roman Reed there to make the stop. Vaness with his helmet on now, jogging on the sideline. So we'll see whether or not he'll come back in.
No, it'll be interesting to see if he comes back in there. And again, a name that we've called several times today. But again, I think it's going to be his Traore there. Traore with the run. And again, I think it's going to be a matter of you just keep feeding the rock to the big man.
Latendresse forced out of the pocket. Pretty elusive, still on his feet. Latendresse throws, and it almost ended up complete to Quentin Neveu. But what a great job by the Sun Youth Hornets pivot just to basically be as elusive as he could. 4 or 5 Canada Knights had a crack at him.
No, he really has. And again, it's not a thing of beauty. It's not like we're watching a Russell Wilson or a Michael Vick or even an Aaron Rodgers. But again, he's going to learn with experience to keep those eyes a little more downfield, because I think a couple times he's had a chance. But credit where credit is due. I just assume he's done here, and he keeps going. He's like the Energizer Bunny. He just keeps on ticking.
There was a guy that won a few Grey Cups and a few MVPs in the CFL, and not to mention a pretty reasonable career in the NFL as well. Doug Flutie was just like that as well.
No, again, it could extend the play. I think I find the most impressive with Latendresse is it just looks like he's dead to rights, and it looks like it should be a dead play. And then all of a sudden he comes out of a mix. It's like you're watching a movie where you see all the rubble, and then that one person walks out of the rubble, and that seems to be Latendresse all afternoon.
A flip out for number 43. That's Liam Massley once again. Little hitch pass, and Massley picks up 4 and another first down for the Sun Youth Hornets.
Clearly, as an offense, they attack the edges, and they're doing it in numerous shapes, forms, and doing it very well. Quite impressive so far.
Latendresse gives the ball to Traore up the middle, and then fakes the pass out to the flat to just keep the Canada defense honest as Traore busts through for 4.
And credit where credit is due to this Canada front right now. There's absolutely zero quit in them. You see them there, and they're battling. I mean, you've got a couple players, and they're really fighting. But Jack McCready, again, not giving up. He's staying in the middle, plugging it in. And credit goes to this Canada defense right now, because they are really, really, really hanging tough.
There's Latendresse once again, looks left and sprints out to the right, looking for some solace on the Canada sidelines. and he gets out of bounds around the 40-yard line. It'll be about a yard shy of another Sun Youth Hornets first down.
Well, what this does, Dan, is, I mean, there's two things here. There's the obvious. I'm getting yards. I'm making it 3rd and 1 or whatever. But more importantly here, watch this if we're watching. Canada Rush comes in. They have him contained. They have it's picked up out there. And I've seen who that is trailing them, but I believe it was either Reed or it was sorry, Dan.
Ball intended for Julien Capella-LaRose, just out of his reach. But you see Latendresse, he's been schooled. You see him when he gets back into the pocket, he does his checks, and he's got 3.
No, well, I'll tell you what I was going to allude to there was just when you look at the line, they had somebody shadowing him. They have like a robber or a monster on him, and he's still doing it. And eventually that's just going to erode at the Canada confidence. It's got to take away from the defense. I stopped you, but you still got something.
Here's Latendresse, flips that out for Traore. Abdallah Traore with some room, gets to the outside. Traore, Denny Ferdinand can't get him. Traore into the end zone for the touchdown. A 40-yard ramble by Abdallah Traore, and this one's getting out of hand, 30-0 for the Sun Youth Hornets.
No, and this is a theme you've heard all day, but again, they're just controlling the perimeters right now. Like, I mean, they're absolutely controlling the edge. Whether they watch this here, again, they're going to the boundary, less field to play with. The numbers are so heavily in their favor here. You've got 3 guys pulling at Troy. Again, he's had a great game, and he's got to make these reads, but look at how many guys actually make contact over the course of 30 yards. 1. Great job by the guys blocking for him. Equally great job reading it.
Traore puts it through. So now Abdallah Traore with 3 touchdowns, 4 conversions. Certainly looking for some level of consideration from you, Wayne, as the most valuable player.
Oh, I'm thinking that, you know what, he's, right now, I got to be honest with you, it is a coin toss. Because, I mean, it's one of those things where, to me, the numbers indicate Traore. There's no doubt about it. And, you know, the production. But, I mean, what's not shown in the stat line is what Latendresse has done to both extend the play to give, like, one of Traore's touchdowns basically based on an extension, and what he's done to demoralize this Canada defense. He's turned at least 3 3rd and longs into first downs just with his feet when he looked dead to right.
There's the kick taken by Denny Ferdinand at his own 10. Ferdinand trying to get to the outside, trying to get some traction, and he seemingly can't with the slippery footing. He moves the ball out beyond the 30 to around the 32, and that's where the Knights will start 1st and 10.
Well, we talked about it in the previous game, and it's again, they're young, so it's a learning experience they'll pick up on. You can't return kicks like that in any conditions, in perfect conditions, but let alone in this. And that's why your kick returner, I always said, my kick returner's got to be that guy who's almost borderline crazy. And the best kick returners I always have dealt with, not the greatest athletes, very good athletes, but not necessarily the greatest, just that fearless guy that's going to run through that wedge or run up that middle, get me the 20, breaks the tackle, then what happens?
Patrick Mendoza-Sod, flanked wide right. Devon Blackwood, wide left, and a timeout called by Canada. So there's some confusion in that huddle, let alone being down 31-0.
Well, no doubt. We look here, and although he had his helmet back on, I mean, Ferdinand's still in the game at quarterback, and it's probably something that they didn't rep. Like, you know, you just don't have the time. This isn't the pros. This isn't college. You don't have 4 to 5 practices. You don't have the time to get the back in there. You hope that it's you really, 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 really hope that that it doesn't come to this where you got to use them for a significant portion of the game, but we're seeing it right now.
So Canada probably be reasonably satisfied just having a successful drive and completing the drive for a score maybe. That might be the small. You take your small victories out of these games.
I do. I mean, again, we there's some entertaining football and whatnot to be played still. But again, I don't want to treat our viewership as ignorant and say, oh, it's 31-0, guys. They're right in this one quick play. I'll turn it around. I mean, is it unforeseeable that they come back? No. Is it likely? No. But like you said, you got to right now, if you're Canada, you got to ignore the scoreboard and you have to play by play and win each single play. And doing a procedure is not going to do it for you, Dan.
No, especially when Jacob Riley is about 3 yards offside.
Yep. Nope, that's exactly it. And unfortunately, and again, it's, I guess, pun intended here, but it's a snowball effect. I mean, it's just once it gets rolling, it gets rolling. And again, we're not giving enough credit to the Hornets. They've dictated the pace of this. They've created the environment that is what we have right now. And I think whether they're playing Cumberland, they're playing anybody in the bantam level the way they've been playing today, I think the gold and yellow or the gold and black are winning.
First down, 15 yards to go. Ferdinand flushed out. Rolls to his left and puts the ball directly in the hands of Ethan Lemieux, and he couldn't squeeze it.
No, and I think you're getting to it. That's just where it's like, that's where things is a little different than when you're playing in August, too. You're down 31. It's below zero. The wind is significant. And you see Lemieux taking a knee there. I'm not saying that they're giving up, but on the other hand, that focus you had at kickoff, it can't be there anymore. Again, great effort and job by Ferdinand, though. I got to give credit where credit is due. I mean, there's a point where you can say, you know what, I'm just getting this done and I'm going through the motions and hopefully in 30 minutes or so I'm off the field. Or you can actually take some pride in what you're doing and fight for it. And that's what we've seen from this Canada team. I mean, in terms of the heart, you wouldn't expect anything otherwise, but you've seen it. You've seen the fight in the Canada team. Maybe not the results they were hoping for today, but you definitely saw the fight.
Canada running their offense from the sidelines using cards.
Now, that's the rage today, Dan. That's the rage.
Kasim Ferdinand at quarterback takes the shotgun snap and the give to number 26, Ethan Rocha. And Rocha barrels forward for a couple, but not much more. Leading the charge defensively, Liam Massley once again. And, there's another candidate for consideration. Massley has had a great game, capped off by a fumble recovery for a touchdown.
No, very true, very true. I mean, the Hornets have been across the board great. And, I mean, right now it's just like lions at a feeding frenzy because you got to feel for Canada in the sense that they're working their butts off, but it's tough when you have your number 2 QB. You look at the plays and the timing's off just a split second, but that's what football is. Football's timing and repetition.
Here's Ferdinand. Lots of time. He takes off. Ferdinand tries to get to the outside, cuts upfield, makes another cut, and finally wrapped up there by number 29, Liam Bergeron. And not before Ferdinand gets very close to a first down, a pickup of 14 for Kasim Ferdinand, and Canada keeps possession of the football.
No, and I think this is as unlikely as a 31-point deficit is to overcome. I think this is really, really important for them, right? I think their only chance in getting back this is perhaps letting Ferdinand run wild like that. I mean, you can expect Sun Yu to try to keep everything in front of them, prevent the quick score. So I think 4 or 5 plays of Ferdinand scrambling, A, it will exhaust him, but B, might get them in a position.
There's the flip. Ferdinand to Ferdinand. Denny trying to get around the right side. Cuts back upfield and gets back to the line of scrimmage.
And we'll take a look at that run here momentarily, but you're going to see, again, the entire front of that of the Hornets here is, again, it's not just Gordon. We brought Gordon up, we brought some other players up, but, I mean, it's that front. You watch them here, and, again, going down, flowing down, all of them. There's absolutely no quit on all of them. And then you have the corner coming down on support. I mean, this is just a well-coached football team in the Sun Youth Hornets. And more importantly, they seem to be feeding off each other and playing to their responsibility. And this is the end result. 0 points by the opponent. Great job on defense.
Kasim Ferdinand looks one way, flushes back the next, and is held up at the line of scrimmage. And again, Paul Brilou right now, that inside linebacker is just a thorn in the side of the Canada offense.
Phenomenal open field tackle by Brilou. He doesn't do that, and we're probably talking about 1st and 10 somewhere on the other side of the field here. Brilou, great open tackle, and that's just not anybody you're tackling. That's Ferdinand. We've seen him make otherwise good football players look silly out here today.
Ferdinand takes the snap. Looks to get outside once again. Now he needs a block. Ferdinand loses the football, but able to pick it back up. Took a little bit of a hit there from Tom Deshay, and there's another flag down that Canada Knights did not pass the football. So that is why they're going to call it back. But if I were the Sun Youth Hornets, I'd decline the penalty and make them punt the football away.
Yeah, no, I'm like I said, I get to a point, and it's one of those things where, you know, I'm of the adage it's 31-0. That's one of the times you can scrap that rule. I mean, if a team's down 31 points and they run the ball 3 times in a row, there's a reason for it. I understand the spirit of the rule here, but I just think it's something. It's kind of like when they turn off scoreboards, they call it the application needs to be more efficient. I think that's just silly in this case, but again, what I think in $3 will get you a cup of coffee today, Dan.
Ethan Rocha kicks the football away. Takes a funny Canada Sun Youth bounce, and it's scooped up by Brilou, and Brilou hammered by Ethan Rocha on the far sideline. So Rocha says, well, how about one of them?
No, you know what? And you got to give it. We've seen some play out of Rocha. We've seen it from Ferdinand. We've seen it from the Canada front. There's no quit. I mean, the last thing, if my takeaway from this, if you question Canada's intestinal fortitude, their heart, you get no questions from me. I've seen a bunch of kids out here with their jobs, and I don't think the score's as indicative. This has just gotten away from Canada, as football games can do. The momentum starts to come, and it just starts rolling, and that's what's happened to the boys in red today.
This should be the final play of the third quarter, barring a penalty. Latendresse gets away again. Latendresse over the line of scrimmage, has to run now, and he's pushed out of bounds, and no late flag. That's Denny Ferdinand out there pushing Latendresse, and a pickup of 7 to end the third quarter. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be back with the fourth quarter here in the Bantam Championship of the Interprovincial Bowl Series, only on the House Edge Sports Network.
The House Edge Sports Network and Ottawa City Councillor Tim Tierney will be teaming up to develop and offer media boot camps for youth interested in learning more about a career in sports and live entertainment broadcasting. Be sure to subscribe to their HESN YouTube channel. The House Edge Sports Network.
Welcome back. HESN's coverage of the Interprovincial Bowl Series. Dan Mooney, Wayne Jacobs, and our entire HESN crew. Happy to have you along for this one as Latendresse bobbles the snap on out of the shotgun, flips it out to Bradley Mahuta, and the Canada Knights get there. 31-0. The Sun Youth Hornets lead this one, and it's been quite a display of football powerhouse. This team has come in. They really did not have a lot going for them except their quarterback and their big running back, Abdallah Traore, have just dominated this football game.
Well, and the size. It's something we mentioned at the onset or the kickoff of the webcast is there's a size discrepancy between Canada and Sun Youth. Don't kid yourself if you can't see it on the film on the screen, viewers.
That pass incomplete, intended for Emile Mailloux, who has been a seemingly favorite receiver of Alouette Latendresse today, but they've yet to hook up. He's thrown to him 4 or 5 times, but they're just unable to click.
No, and it's what we talked about earlier. It's the little things when you have a field like this. It's not going to look like something out of NFL's funniest videos or top 10, or it's not going to make a highlight. It's the little tiny things. Like on a regular field, Latendresse has a little bit better footing, a little bit more accurate a ball. The receiver can make a little bit sharper. It's just the tiny things.
High snap to Traore, and the punt goes off the side of his foot. It'll be picked up at the 20-yard line by Carchidi, and Carchidi gets almost out to the 30, and Canada gets the football back once again.
I'll tell you what, talk about a player who's doing everything. I mean, he got almost out to 30, but on the tackle was Traore again. He's in there everywhere. A funny thing we just saw here, though, for the first time out of the 3 kicks they've done, if that's either third or fourth kick, they lined up at 15 that time. So maybe they're seeing something. Maybe they made an adjustment weather-wise, but they didn't shut it off at 10 where the 2 snaps that went over Traore's head. But again, talk about an added bonus when your punter serves as your wedge breaker or your punter's your first man down, and it's not because it's a bad ball or he thinks he can get it. It's because your punter's basically your headhunter on punt team.
Traore with 3 touchdowns of his own in this one. And he's breaking wedges. Here's Ferdinand, Kasim Ferdinand. Looks down and then gets to the outside. Ferdinand being pursued by Brilou, and Brilou catches him, but not before Ferdinand picks up 11 and a Canada first down.
Again, a great effort by Ferdinand, and there's no quitting these kids. And, I mean, you watch, and, I mean, to a man, the receivers are still running routes. The guys are going downfield. We'll take a look here. And, again, Sun Youth is content to leave everything in front of them. That Canada team is still trying. Good technique used by the O-line there, giving Ferdinand some chance to throw. And again, this is a team that knows that their leader, their starter's not in there right now, but they're giving it all they ought. So, I mean, credit where credit is due. There's a reason why Canada's in this game, and it's not because they don't have the skill or the heart.
Ferdinand bobbles the snap, throws, and completes that to Brody Bampton. Bampton still on his feet, picks up 23, another first down. Brilou there to help make the stop, along with number 9, Bobby Poteau.
And what a play by Ferdinand there to have the bobble the snap. It goes down, he has to pick it up. And throwing that quick slant is not the easiest throw for a quarterback. Again, good read, puts it where it's got to be, and then great job cutting it up there and turning 7 yards into about 30.
Big first down. And now Canada on the march. 2 first downs on this drive. Here's Ferdinand. The give to Rocha. Rocha out to the 40-yard line, a pickup of 8.
At this point, if you're Canada, you're definitely playing for the points here. I mean, again, with the shortened quarter, 31 points in 8 minutes is a lot to ask for. But again, you see the fight in Canada, and they'll carry away with this. Trust me when I tell you, 31-0 is far from 31-6 or 31-7. If you can break that shutout, you're going to feel a lot better about the offseason.
Here's Ferdinand. Sets up, throws, and a post pattern, just missing Misha De La Foresta.
And you see, it's one of those things where we saw it in the earlier game, and we saw it a couple times today, and it's just where the quarterbacks or the throws are a little ahead of the receivers here. I mean, Ferdinand goes over to congratulate. You got to love the teammanship here, because Ferdinand could hang his head, or Guilinois, because that was a perfect pass by Ferdinand, quite frankly. You watch again, the receiver kind of stutter steps, comes out of it, loses his footing a little, and what should have been 6 is now a third down.
Bad snap. Ferdinand forced to take off, trying to get to the outside. He does. He has the first down, and then forced out by Liam Bergeron on the far side around the 32-yard line.
One may ask, and again, I'm sure that when you lose any game, whether you lose 1-0 or 31-0, I mean you're going to have questions all game. But then they're going to start to wonder maybe this is the offensive set we might have wanted to go with here. A bit of a wildcat look with Ferdinand.
Yeah.
I mean he's wreaking havoc, and if it's not Brilou, the first guy, or Brilou, it's the first guy misses. I mean,
Ferdinand again sets up tons of time. Forced out of the pocket and then wrapped up big time by Johan Berard Lusamba. And the sack will bring the football back to the 38.
No, and you know what? Quite frankly, that's where I might have, I just said it, and that's where I might have been wrong, because you had a couple of open receivers downfield, and maybe that's where Vaness kind of picks it up, because that's his natural job that he's doing right here. You watch, and you have a couple of guys break up top. We can't see them as they leave our screen, but trust me on it. You had 2 receivers open, and again, it's probably the type of thing, if I'm playing quarterback every day and every snap, I'm comfortable firing that in there. If I'm a running back who's thrust into this duty, it might not be a play. So, you have the pluses with the negatives.
Second down, 16 yards to go. Little play action. Ferdinand, again, forced to roll to his right. Looks to throw, cuts back inside. Ferdinand drops the football, and it's scooped up by the Sun Youth Hornets. Number 64, James Patrick Hill, falling on the loose football, and Canada just can't catch a break today.
And what we're looking at here, and we'll get a look at it, but again, I want to watch James Patrick Hill here. Because, I mean, it goes. And, I mean, I brought up 66 to Mon McLean Gordon earlier, and then we had a chance to talk about some of the others. But, again, it is that full front. It is the entire front that is doing the damage here. And it looks like Latondres is going to take a timeout, something he didn't like here.
Well, they have two in the half, and Latondres just actually pretty solid move by a young quarterback. Just if you didn't see what he likes, take the timeout, stop the clock. I mean, with a 31-0 lead, not going to hurt anybody.
No, and you know what? There's a certain mutual respect on both sides of the ball here. So although they have little to nothing to do with it, they also want to help the defense preserve their shutout. They want to come in and they don't want to do anything stupid here because they realize there's 6:14 to go, 31-point lead. You are going to win this football game. However, the flip side is as much as Canada wants to break the goose egg, you know that the young men in gold and black right now, that is what they're playing for right now. They're playing to keep that 0 on the scoreboard. So offensively, if you don't like it, you're not going to make any silly mistakes, crazy stuff. You're not going to take the chance. And, I mean, you see it in Latondres. Very impressive young man at quarterback.
Just got word Connor Vanasse is being held out for a potential head injury, and we talk about concussions in football and concussions in all sports. That's certainly one that you don't want to take any chances, as Traore picks up 5 on that little rumble, giving him 9 carries for 74 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Well, again, you saw it, and we kind of figured it was something to do with that effect because, I mean, he came out, he didn't seem to be favoring anything. And, again, you err on the side of caution nowadays, no question whatsoever.
Latondres forced out of the pocket, still on his feet, throws downfield, and Traore just unable to hang on with number 23, Trevor Schwab, out there on defense to knock that ball away.
Well, this is the battle that we anticipated here. When you just look at the size difference between the receivers coming out of there for the Hornets versus the Canada DBs. Now, it never really materialized because when you score early and you score lots, you're not too worried about going downfield. But this is kind of what we anticipated here. Gets away with a little bit of a push-off here, but goes up, and again, they're just it's. I remember Barry Switz, the old Cowboy and Oklahoma coach, saying, we don't outsmart them, we just out-athlete them.
That sounds like something Switzer would say. Here's Traore out-athleting the Canada defense to break through for 6 and another first down.
It is. Now we're at the point where they're just, again, you just, and you got to like it. I guarantee you on offense right now, they want to end the game. The offensive line and the running backs, they take great pride in this. This is another victory. Even though it's 31-0, here's the victory. Here's the final challenge for the 2017 season. Finish this game. And that's one of those hidden things that old linemen, they work for that, and it's a badge of honor that doesn't get talked about enough. But it's like, all right, you know what, guys? We got 4:52. We have the chance to put the nail in the coffin, meaning that if we dominate now, they are not getting the ball back. And again, if they get the ball back, they're not going to win. But this is the offensive line's chance saying, hey, defense, you've had our back. We got yours. They ain't getting the ball back. You're getting your shutout.
4 minutes and 43 seconds left to go here in the fourth quarter. Sun Youth in great control of this one. Wrapped up, Denny Ferdinand gets to Latondres, and the loss is 8.
And I'll tell you, that Ferdinand has played a whale of a ball game. And one of the things that really impressed me, Dan, as I've been watching, and quietly, and it's not when he has the chance to make the play, it's on every play. He is not quitter. You're going to see it. And this is atypical of what he's been doing. Like, you watch here, it goes out. And again, Ferdinand comes sideline to sideline. Look at him outrun everybody else on the field there. And there is absolutely zero quit. That's just effort. That's skill and effort. I shouldn't say just effort because I could never run that fast.
Latondres wrapped up again in the backfield. Number 69, Jack McCready. No quit in that kid. You talked about him earlier.
No, we called McCready's number a few times, and I mean, again, I'm impressed with the Canada. I mean, it goes without saying, great job, and if I'm going to be blunt and harsh about it, Sun Youth has effectively come in here and dismantled the NCAFA champion. But the flip side of that coin is I'm seeing hearts the size of Ontario in these kids on the red and blue right now because there is no quit, and there is absolute. Look at that, again.
Latendresse.
Guess who it is?
19
Yes.
is Kyle Prince, right in the middle of it. And the Sun Youth, bigger boys, took offense at the fact that Prince got a lick in at their quarterback.
I'll tell you what, again, this is just, and credit where credit is due. If I block out the scoreboard the way number 20, Denny Ferdinand's playing right now, I have no idea that there's 3 minutes left in the 31-0 game. I just have no idea. Again, Ferdinand, for the third straight play, watch this play here. He comes in and blows up everything they're trying to do. He's sitting in that linebacker's position, reading. This is brilliant. Like, I love watching football like this, Dan, because this is a kid who has the instincts. He's sitting there reading the play, and he's going. He's not trying to make plays that aren't there. I absolutely love it.
Traore with the kick. And that rolls into the Canada bench. So the Knights will get great field position, perhaps their best of the afternoon, with 3 minutes and 3 seconds remaining and trailing by a bundle in this International Bowl Series Bantam Championship from Keith Harris Stadium at MNP Park on the campus of Carleton University. Gotta say it, Wayne. This inaugural championship, the inaugural Interprovincial Bowl Series, has been a huge success. Good crowds, and the football not bad at all.
And I'm telling you what, we have had the worst weather we have probably had in 6 months here. The crowds have come out. The football is evident. You got some great players. And again, it's been an absolute joy doing it, and it's a great brainchild of the two leagues to get together.
There's Ferdinand throwing down, looking for the post, and trying to find Jacob Riley, but he ran into double coverage. Number 27, Félix Derry-Bernard, along with number 3, Quentin Neveu, providing the defensive coverage and not allowing Riley any room to continue after that perfect pass from Ferdinand.
And again, nice pocket. Nice job by the Canada line. I mean, quite frankly, I know Ferdinand's not a quarterback, but they give him a nice alley to step up with. Only problem is, again, they're playing the deep ball. Not much you can do. He's going to take a shot. Can't blame him. Not there. What can you do?
Second down, 10 yards to go. Here's number 26. That's Ethan Rocha. And Rocha weaves his way forward for a pickup of 8. The ball on the 26-yard line. Third down, 3 yards to go. Here's Kasim Ferdinand. He's got Rocha in the backfield. And Kyle Lim gets the call and gets the first down.
And again, you see them fighting for it, and Canada's really pushing now. Again, they know they're grinding it away here. Canada's looking to put points on the board. Sun Youth is looking to stop them. It's as simple as that. That's what it's come down to. And, I mean, you can take a look here. And, again, it's kind of neat to watch at this point, Dan, whereas we really see you have two teams. It's 31-0, 2 minutes to go. Canada bound and determined to score here. Sun Youth just as determined to stop them.
You have to select the MVPs for this one as Ferdinand throws that through the hands of Devon Blackwood.
I'll tell you what, mine is a toss-up. I mean, everybody's going to think I'm nuts because you look at the stats and you got to look at Abdallah Traore on that. But I am telling you what, the guy who, one of the worst used phrases in football is game manager because it has such a negative connotation. That is exactly what Latendresse has done. He's been a game controller, not manager. He has basically carried this out. So I go with either the running back, Traore, but I'll be honest with you, I might have a little bias here, but the stuff that he has done to extend plays to keep his offense on the field, I would have to go with the QB. as good as Torre has played. And I might get some pushback on that one.
Here's Ferdinand, sets up the screen and completes it to Rocha. Rocha cuts back to the middle of the field and gets close to a first down, maybe a couple of yards short. Now, for Canada, who you look at? Do you look at Kasim Ferdinand, 7 carries for 56 yards? Or is there anybody else that stands out for you?
Well, I think the Ferdinand brothers are the first two that jump out. I mean, obviously, when you lose 31-0, it's kind of like as good as you play, no matter how well you play as a goalie, you lose 6-2. It's hard to name the goalie MVP, although we've all seen those games where he's led. Same thing, 31 points against the defense, but it could be much worse. I think either of the Ferdinand brothers, and we'll get back to that in 1 second here, Dan.
There's Kasim giving it to Kyle Lim, and Lim wrapped up immediately by Johan Berard Lusamba.
I mean, I think it definitely comes down to one of the two. Otherwise, you have both McCready and you have Kyle Prince. It seemed all day long you were calling Prince's number, and McCready seemed to be stellar. So, I mean, I think it's one of the four. I think ultimately the one we've been calling the most is Ferdinand. I don't know if it's just because we've been calling the two brothers or if it was actually just one Ferdinand we've been calling.
So do you go with 34 or 20?
You tell me.
Well, got to go with 34, just for versatility's sake, being forced into the quarterback position after Connor Vanasse went out with what is apparently a head injury, and we want to wish Connor well. You don't want to have to deal with the concussion, but they got him out of the game and err on the side of caution, as you mentioned before.
No, definitely. We don't want to speculate if any family or friends are out there that weren't able to make it watching it. We do not know, and we know we've gotten the little words we've gotten. It's been completely a cautionary thing where they're just holding it out because, again, life's a lot bigger than what they're doing right now, and it's a lot bigger than the game, so very good. Now, Dad, here's the thing. We talked about it pregame. We made our predictions. Does Canada score here in the final 43, or does the shutout preserved?
Well, a little bit of pride on both sides, I'm sure.
I think Ferdinand scores. I just think he's too hard to contain if he's moving around back there.
First down, goal to go. Ferdinand's throw!
Oh!
In and out of the hands of Misha Della Foresta.
And a great effort by both Ferdinand and the receiver. I mean, both of them went up. It's tough. I mean, you're trying to plant and come back up and grab that ball. So, I mean, both impressive effort by both parties. And, again, it's kind of
But sometimes you put up those 50-50 balls, and guys like Greg Ellingson will come down with it 9 times out of 10.
I'll tell you, we call this flip a coin football right here. That's exactly it. It was a great effort. I think this is what you had to do there, Della Foresta. And I think, you know what? Again, if the field's not covered in snow, I think Della Foresta might be able to make a better play because you're just getting your brace and you're able to get a little higher.
Both teams had to deal with it, and the Sun Youth Hornets certainly dealt with it a lot better. And Abdallah Traore and the leadership skills and the offense of quarterback Aloha Latendresse Rejambal, really all that the Sun Youth Hornets needed, and the Quebec flag goes up, and there's a little bit of pride for you too.
So they're 1-1. The fleur-de-lis goes ahead and flies right now. We'll see what happens in the third game. More importantly here, will it be a shutout or will Canada score?
Second and goal from the 5. Here's Ferdinand. Naked bootleg rolling to his right. Puts it up into the end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Patrick Mendoza-Sod.
Just a little bit short on the throw there. Again, good effort. A little bit of a naked bootleg, whereas if they bite, they bite. And if they don't, he's in trouble. And the problem when you have a Ferdinand back there, I don't think a whole bunch of those guys in black and gold right now are sitting back and saying, hey, you know what? They're not giving it to him. Like right here, you watch them. They all stay on Ferdinand, and understandably so. I mean, if I have Kim and I have Ferdinand, no disrespect to Kim. He's a heck of a ball player, or Lim rather, Kyle Lim. But I mean, Ferdinand's been the guy all game. So, I mean, little misdirection, probably not going to work out right now unless you're using Ferdinand as the decoy.
Third and goal, 29 seconds left. Ferdinand throws in and out of the hands of Mendoza-Sod once again. Probably the best opportunity. Actually, that's number 21, Devon Blackwood. Blackwood with a great opportunity there, just unable to bring it in.
A great athlete. Blackwood has been a part of the Canada program for a while. A name that we expected to call a little bit more today, but with the injury to the starting quarterback, Probably haven't heard the names of the Canada receivers like we might have thought. Definitely a ball that Blackwood would want back and would tell you he should have caught.
On fourth down, 24.7 seconds left to go. Here's Kasim Ferdinand trying to get away from the rush. Ferdinand being pursued. Ferdinand around the corner at the 5. Can he cross through? He's in for the touchdown.
And you know what? If we weren't sure about the MVP on Canada's side, I feel very good about giving it to Ferdinand because, quite frankly, that was one man's effort. I mean, not to take away from the team. They fought, they played, they did the play. But that was just Ferdinand saying, you know what? I am not letting you guys have the shutout today.
31-6.
So with the flag, I guess it's called against the Hornets here. So a little frustration. Yeah, a little frustration by the Hornets with the touchdown from Canada, really wanting that shutout. And, again, it's one of those things. You can look away. At the end of the season, they're not going to remember that they came out here and lost. They're going to remember their upset win over Cumberland, winning in Nakafa.
Della Foresta's kick is blocked, and that's all they'll get. So 11.4 seconds left to go, and this one will probably go into the books as a 31-6 final. But Canada showing a little pride, and boy, they can hold their heads high for a tremendous effort.
No, and you watch here, and you know what? You keyed it up beautifully. Tremendous effort. It doesn't get better than this. I mean, they're coming off the edge. First off, there's no way that Ferdinand should be able to get outside there, and he does. I think he's done here. The whole time I'm watching this, Dan, you watch him get out here. He's not even looking downfield, nor can he on this. And then even on the edge, he just shows his athleticism. If somehow I found my way able to run around him like that, I'm not staying in bounds. My momentum's taking me out. Heck of an athlete. More importantly, you got great athletes, but you just saw the size of this kid's heart. I mean, it doesn't change anything, but it shows you what this kid's made of. And I know if I'm a coach and I see this Ferdinand kid on my roster, I know I've got something special.
He ran right over Bobby Pateau at the goal line, and reminiscent of Bo Jackson running over Brian Bosworth.
No, you know, it did. It looked a little, and here's the difference is whereas Bo was winning that game right into it, he gave a Bo Jackson-like effort when he was actually, you know, there was the score was more like what Seattle was dealing with at the time.
Brad Simser's kick, a little pooch, and Mayu picks it up. 9.4 seconds left to go. So you'll see the Hornets offense come out here, and I don't think they'll rub it in. I think you'll see LOL Latendresse just run out the clock.
I think you got to take a knee here. I mean, you've done what you wanted. You played a solid game across the board. And you know what? These aren't little kids. These are young men. So, I mean, it's going to get heated in there. But it's been a great game, sportsmanship on both sides of the ball. It's why you hold these type of games, these interprovincial series or matchups. And that's exactly what they do. They take the knee like you said, Dan.
Latendresse and the Sun Youth Hornets win the Bantam Championship in the Interprovincial Bowl Series by a score of 31-6. Traore, great game, but Latendresse really managed this game wonderfully.
No, and again, it's funny because for whatever reason, everybody, especially the quarterback, they want to be known as gunslingers. They want to be known as, and so you call them a game manager. It's almost offensive to them. And it's really the term that's so wrongly used in the sense that we think of a negative because he did exactly what you did today. He managed the game. But I'm going to tell you what. They do not win if he doesn't manage the game. And by managing, I don't say he just didn't make mistakes. No, he did what he had to. When they needed the quarterback position to rise, that's what he did. He extended at least 3 drives with his feet, with his movement in the pocket. And I remember the one there when it was still a ball game. I want to say it was 7-0, a one-score game. And again, they've got them dead to rights. It's 3rd and long. He scrambles out. Next play's a touchdown.
A 31-6 victory from Carleton University by the Sun Youth Hornets. and they are the Bantam champions in the Interprovincial Bowl Series for 2017. For Wayne Jacobs and our entire HESN crew, I'm Dan Mooney. Thanks so much for the company. So long from Carleton University in the nation's capital.
Here in the garden, mustard seeds between my toes. Oh, the weeds kill the flowers. On the wings of gossamer, over a field of sacred cows. Can I please speak to Duncan Charles?